All right. Welcome everyone to this Q&A. Again, welcome everyone. This Q&A, I guess everybody lucks out or maybe feels pain, not exactly sure. But I am around, still in Israel, didn't travel. Sort of a medical emergency, but everything should be good in another few weeks, I would assume. So in any case, I guess we're good classes for the next few weeks. Any case, there's a follow-up. There was a follow-up question. There was a follow-up question we spoke about last week. It was a question about the end of days, right? And what could happen, I don't know, asteroid would hit the Earth or freeze over or something with the North Pole, the South Pole, whatever it was. So we made a distinction again between the end of days and the resurrection of the dead, right? Or the coming of the Messiah, and when the Earth is supposed to be destroyed, or the world, let's say better, is supposed to be destroyed. So we made a very big distinction between the Messiah coming and the world being destroyed. But there was a follow-up question, and that was, let's say, obviously before the world is destroyed, we're talking about Messiah coming. So someone had asked, Bitcoin, yeah, if Bitcoin itself became the world currency, again, this would be according to the Rambam, that the Rambam says that it's not going to be any difference between this world, and when the Messiah comes, it's going to be, same type of thing, so to speak. We're probably doing, a lot of the same things. Main difference is we won't have an evil inclination, right? That is definitely true. Nonetheless, there was a question. Okay, so if the world's going to be the same, let's say, and there's going to be one currency, right? Let's say there's one currency. With one currency, if you're using money or whatever, and that currency, let's say is Bitcoin, could be anything else, but let's say Bitcoin. So they force you to get a microchip implant, right? They force you to get a implant to buy or sell or trade. Let's say, yeah, hypothetical case. Would it be permitted to get the implant? Would a non-Jew be allowed to accept it? And if not in these circumstances, why not? And what's the Torah say about it? Now the interesting thing, because let's say everyone would have to do this, or do something, get something, implanted, right? We could use the idea of COVID. That would be, getting the vaccine, right? Maybe, you could say like that, if we were forced to get the vaccine or not, right? Would you say that you can do it? You have to do it, right? You're obligated according to the law of the land, or not. So that's really the base of the question. If it's the law of the land. Now, if it's the law of the land, but the law of the land goes against what Torah says, right? If the law of the land would go against Torah, so that's a different issue, right? That would be a different issue, right? In other words, the law of the land. Let's go back in the day in the former Soviet Union. Law of the land was Jews cannot do circumcision. Forbidden for Jews to do circumcision. So people risk their life, going to Siberia or being sent to Siberia. So that you have an obligation to go against what the government says. Now, if you do it, you're putting your life in danger, putting other people's lives in danger. But the Torah is the Torah. You're not going to flaunt it, otherwise, you could be considered a pursuer, road thief, right? But you do it in hiding, right? That's what a lot of people did. But they were able to do it. So that's a different issue. That goes against Torah. 100% that goes against Torah. Putting a microchip in, again, we're afraid they're going to steal all your DNA, steal all your knowledge, or something like that. That's a claim against TikTok. It's what, some people are saying that, it's run by China. So they can, tap into all this stuff. That's why the whole controversy now, whether ban it or not. But I think, vast majority of people on TikTok are probably under the age of 20, right? Or even, probably even younger. Not saying everybody, right? But like, what do they have to give? Like what's secrets or whatever? What are we worried about to give? They just put 99% of the stuff, it's all stupid stuff that they're putting out there, right? Getting their stuff out there. Who knows what? So I don't know exactly what they're, what they're afraid of, what China's going to do you know, with these people that, you know, much younger and this and that. Okay, yeah, but what could a microchip do? Change our DNA? We could be following around, right? That whole thing. You buy things from China, they have bugs in there. Who knows? Maybe electronic things. They put things to track you to, I don't know, get information from you. Who knows what? Maybe true. I don't know. I'm not. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd say to put it past them, but at the same time, I would say that people are going to buy stuff from China anyway because it's cheaper. Yeah. Now, so again, what's the worry? There's still all our information. They're going to reprogram us. I mean, that was a fear by the COVID vaccines, right? Some people claimed that it's going to rewire our DNA. That was one of the claims. Not to mention where it came from and like all these other things. But at the end of the day, or some doctors said, well, we'll see what happens because in 2 years, whoever got the vaccine is going to die. Well, obviously that didn't happen, right? Some people died, got sick from it. Okay, but not everyone who took it died 2 years later. So the question is, so if you have a microchip that's going to allow you to buy and sell, right? Let's say, is it permitted to get it? Again, is that considered mutilation of the body? I don't know. It's doing something that you have to do, right, in order to do business, right? In order to buy things. Let's say. So if that be the law of the land, you're going to say, what's the problem? What's the problem? You say that you're not allowed to mutilate the body. Okay. Well, we see mutilation of the body, is permitted, see, by circumcision, right? Some people would say it's mutilation of the body. Very good. But Torah gave a direct command. Torah says this is what you got to do, right? This is what you got to do. So we don't look at it as mutilation, right? You could say, by operation. Person needs an operation for something. Whatever. I'm not talking about cosmetic surgery. That's a different issue. Right? An operation. And that mutilation of the body? Yeah. But you're destroying part of the body or cutting part of the body to fix it. So that's not a problem. That wouldn't be a problem. That's a mitzvah. Why? Because the person has to be healthy. Right? That's saving a person's life. Right? That's a different issue. So you're going to say, well, this isn't saving a person's life. Good. But there's no other way to do it. So again, what could be the problem? Tell me it's mutilation of the body. You would tell me that they're going to find out other information. They can do other things with it. Other things, with the person itself. That could be a danger. That 100% could be a danger to the person. Right? Yeah. But keep in mind, even if we go like the Rambam, that this world's not going to be that much different from when the Messiah comes, right? It's going to be similar to what we're doing now. So even if that would be true, yeah, the fact is, again, what are we worried about here? If that's the only way to do it, at the end of the day, when the Messiah comes, whoever survives this war of Gog and Magog, whoever survives is not going to have free will. In other words, they're only going to be doing the will of God. So let's say there would be a law. Let's say there would be such a law. You would have to do that. Right? You'd have to get this implant in order to do business. Right? You'd have to get this implant. Okay. Is there anything wrong with it? Right? If we're all doing, whoever survives, they're doing the will of God, why should that be a problem? This is obviously what God wants. So if that's what God wants, shouldn't be an issue. Right? That shouldn't be an issue. right? And in the end of days, whoever survives, like Jews will come to the land, right? All Jews will have to come here, whoever survives. So, like someone once said, it's gonna be too cold. I don't want to go there. I said, you put on a couple extra sweaters. Nah, it's this, it's that. I said, but you're not gonna have free will here. You're gonna be doing the will of God. You're not gonna worry about it. It's not gonna matter. It's gonna matter if it's cold, and you get wet, and and it rains and whatever, and you feel cold all winter. Okay, so what? That's not gonna change. Right? In other words, your will is going to be doing God's will. So you're not going to care because you're doing God's will. It's not going to matter. If this is God's will, that's what he wants. In other words, you're going to have to do business with this implant. So what's the problem? Right? According to that, it should not be an issue. Why shouldn't it be an issue? Well, I'll be doing God's will. And obviously, this is what God wants. So therefore, we're not worried. So we're going to steal information, going to cause other problems, right? Shouldn't be worried about it. So that's first part. Would a non-Jew be allowed to accept the implant? No difference. Right? Mutilation of the body in general for a non-Jew, not a problem. Could a non-Jew, for instance, part of the no-hide laws, could a non-Jew do, what do you call it? Could a non-Jew do cosmetic surgery? Right? Could a non-Jew do cosmetic surgery? And the answer is probably not a problem. For a Jew, it might be an issue, right? For a Jew, it depends what it is, right? If it's just you're doing cosmetic surgery, make yourself look younger, and this and that, so that would be a problem, right? That would probably be an issue. If a person did it, let's say, there's some guys out there, right? I'm not here to make fun, just call it the way I see it. Let's say there's a guy out there. I'm sure there are many like this. They have a unibrow. They have like one eyebrow, no space in between, right? Now, I'm not talking about, taking off their eyebrows per se. Can they shave it? Can they trim it? Is that like what women do? So that if they want to get married, they're allowed to, right? That would be allowed. That's kind of a turnoff, right? I would think for a woman looking at a guy with a unibrow, it's probably not so appetizing, right? I would assume not so, not so good. So could a guy get, could he trim it or he take it off? Yeah. So it depends what it's for. It depends what cosmetic surgery is, it's for, because that's mutilation of the body, right? So it depends why you're doing it. For and that goes for a man or a woman. Now, for a non-Jew, probably doesn't apply, right? They wouldn't transgress prohibition of mutilation of the body. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a moral imperative. Why? For a non-Jew, okay, so they want to look younger. They have other issues. It shouldn't be a problem, right? It shouldn't be a problem for them. So would that apply to a non-Jew? Same thing, right? Right? It'd be less of an issue. But again, even a non-Jew, keep in mind, a non-Jew who survives the war of Gog and Magog, right? So if they survive, they're also going to lose. They're also not going to have free will here. They're also going to be doing God's will all the time. Right? So that's not going to matter to them. Be the same as a Jew. That wouldn't make any difference. Right? And what does the Torah say about it? So, okay, so that then I think answer, but keep in mind, keep in mind, in the end of days, anyone who's going to survive is going to be doing God's will. The evil inclination will be slaughtered. There will be no evil inclination. So whatever happens in the end of days, we don't really know. But even according to the Rambam, he says it's not going to be different than this world, what we're going through right now, what we're doing, etc. So if that's going to be the same, and everyone's going to be doing God's will, what's the issue? Right? What would the issue be? Right? What would be the issue? We're all be doing God's will. Should not be an issue. Shouldn't be an issue. Very simple. Very simple. Wouldn't be an issue. So, there are two things here. First of all, you get the law of the land, right? Do I have to follow the law of the land, right? And what if it goes against Torah? Well, I'm not sure this will go against Torah, right? If you tell me that's the only way to do it, and there are no other issues except mutilating the body, but there are no other issues, okay, right? The question really would be, what would happen, right? In theory, what would happen? This is the only way to get your money out. Can't hide under, that's it. Everyone has to do it. That is the only possible way. I don't know. I'm just going wrong. It's the only possible way. So what do you do? So again, all things being equal, I don't think it was a problem. I don't think it would be an issue. It's not mutilation of the body for that purpose. Right? That would make it forbidden. On the other hand, what are the alternatives? They say that's the only way. If all things being equal, let's say it's not the end of this. Let's say they would make it a law right now. They would make a law right now. This is what you have to do. Forget the end of this. Even better, right? If they made a law right now, that's the only way you can use money. Now, even if you hide it, and before this whole thing came about, what did you do? You took all your money, stuck it, I don't know, you hid it somewhere, right? You hid it somewhere. Very good. That money's not worth anything, right? It'd be kind of like everyone who was rich before the Bolsheviks, before the Russians, so the Russian Revolution. What happened to all the money? Gonzo, or nothing. And not to mention property taken away and everything else. Their money wasn't worth anything. So even if they had tens of thousands, millions of rubles, guess what? You know what they're using? It's not using rubles anymore, right? Rubles went out the window. So all your rubles are like monopoly money. It's not worth anything. It's worth zero. So here you got all these dollars. You got diamonds, you got other things, stocks, who knows what? Paper. It's all paper. It's worth nothing. You can't do anything with it, right? You say, maybe the black market for it. Okay. Right? Well, entertain that possibility. Maybe the black market. Okay. Even if there would be. I don't think someone's going to want to live like that. So the question is, what's the effect? What's the problem? Yeah, if you're going to tell me they're going to read your DNA and you're going to have all kinds of, health issues and different things, you can't do it, right? That would be a problem. On the other hand, are you going to survive? That's the only way. You have no other way to survive. If there are other ways to do it, and you can survive the black market, then I say, yeah, it depends what we're worried about here. They're worried about cloning, you're worried about, other countries getting information. I don't know. Mutilation of the body, that's probably the main thing. One of the main things. Right? But to make it very easy, by the end of days, you don't have an issue. Because everyone's going to be doing God's will. So if everyone's going to be doing God's will, and that's a decree, then that's the way it should be. No one's going to complain. No one is going to complain. So I guess that's what I would answer. Somebody here says COVID definitely showed too many people to easily be misled. Well, they scared a lot of people. That's what they did. They totally scared a lot of people, and even if it would be, the numbers are what they say they are, right? We're not going to say the numbers are skewed, right? Let's say the numbers are what they are. Very good. So they had a right to scare people, right? If what's being said is true, right? But people are going to say the numbers are skewed, other things, whatever. Okay, and this thing hasn't been proven. Good. So there's a difference of opinion across the board. Across the board. Some say you should take it. Some say you shouldn't take it. Whatever it is. First of all, they didn't know a lot of information about it. They don't have a lot of information on what this thing was. Now they're coming out, saying it was produced in a lab. Which some people claimed, towards the beginning, that was conspiracy theory. Whatever it is. But I would say that, people were scared by it. Regardless of what you want to say about the vaccine, I will say one thing, right? I don't want to harp on this, spoke about a lot back in the day. I will mention one thing, and that is that this is something, let's say for argument's sake, if someone gets it, it's dangerous. Dangerous. And it could kill someone. Now, someone will claim, if you're young and healthy, You don't have any underlying things, right? It'd be like getting a really bad flu. Yeah. I don't know. Someone told me it's bad flu going around here. I know half of England is sick right now also. But, someone told me like been knocked out for like a week, or like a week and a half. Okay. It's probably not so old, right? But whatever. It takes a lot out of a person. Very good. A younger person, it'll take less time. But if you're much older, you have underlying symptoms. I know, plenty of people over the age of 70, for sure, get a flu shot. Why do they get the flu shot? Because if they get the flu, they'll get it much less. They'll have less an effect, right? If they don't take the flu shot, it could be dangerous. Certainly someone has any underlying symptoms, right? The flu does kill people during the year. 20,000, 30,000, I don't know, 50,000. Whatever it is, does kill people. It can keep people, kill people, complicate things, sure. Right? So, older people, will get a flu shot because of that. If you're younger, why wouldn't you do it? Because you'll be able to fight it off. You get sick, you feel bad for a couple of days, maybe a week, whatever. You'll be back to yourself, in a short amount of time. Sure, it takes a lot longer, right? It'll take a lot longer to fight it. It could be other complications. Okay. Now, if all that's true, and you're playing with something here, you don't know what it is. And it can be extremely contagious, whether, when they say mass work, it didn't work, whatever, a lot of things. Let's just say something extremely contagious. The incredulous thing to me was, no matter what you want to say about the vaccine, who wants to get it and take the chance? Because when it got proof, there were people, prime of life, healthy, young, and died from it. Right? That to me was the most incredulous thing. Because they had no underlying symptoms. They had nothing else going on. They caught this thing and it killed them. Now, I'm not saying they just had it in their system. They had died from it. It was clear they died from it. I would agree. Some of the numbers are probably skewed because anyone had COVID in their system. They said they died from COVID, but they may not have died from COVID, died from other things, even though they had it in their system. Okay, that doesn't matter. Even if the numbers are less. But one of the most incredulous things, to me, seeing the whole thing and just like watching the whole thing was the fact that people didn't care. They're just like, okay, so if I get it. Right now, if the vaccine did what it's supposed to do, and let's say there are no long-term effects, short-term effects, let's say legitimate vaccine. Yeah, that's going to stop it. Let's say. Right? So that's another issue. But all right, someone's going to point out, like someone here does, and that people died from the vaccine. Also true. Which, they didn't tell you, that could happen, and probably lied about that also. Right? It's also true. Right? The vast majority of people didn't. Right? Certainly the vast majority of people didn't. Right? So there were people saying that, it's a high number. Okay. Was it over 50%? Well, I don't even think it was over 20%. Right? I don't think the numbers were, even if there were a lot of people, the numbers weren't as high as I think people make it out to be. But even so, right? Even so. But think about it in God's terms, right? That's how we want to look at this. Let's say, a person got scared. They don't want to get this. I know plenty of old people, they took all the shots, booster shots, everything, because they don't want to get it. Very good. Now, what would happen? What would happen if they took the shot? Anybody, doesn't matter. Young person, old person, doesn't matter. They took the shot, and because of the shot, they died. What is the Torah aspect? Right? What was the Torah aspect? How would we view it? And the answer is that's the way you were supposed to die. You're going to say, but if you didn't take the vaccine, you wouldn't have died. Okay, God would take you another way, but that's the way he took you. You take a younger person. Someone took it and, dropped dead of a heart attack. Some people it happened that way. Or other people had aneurysms, other things. True. But what's the Torah outlook? That's the question. What's the Torah outlook? And the Torah outlook is God took them by them taking the vaccine. That's how God took them. Now you can say, I didn't buy into it. I didn't take the vaccine. I would never take the vaccine. Very good. Yeah? So if God wanted you to die, okay, so you wouldn't die from the vaccine. He'll get you somewhere else. You have a heart attack, get hit by a truck. I don't know. Aneurysm, or cancer, plenty of things. God's got a lot of things in his repertoire that he can put on a person and kill them. If that's your time to go, that's your time to go. It doesn't matter. Oh, we gotta say, come on. The reason is they took the vaccine. No, that's not the reason. See, that's the mistake. That's not the reason. You know the reason they died? Because God told the angel of death, take them this way. That's the reason. So you're going to say, why did so many people have to die through COVID? What do you think if I knew that? I'd be world famous. I'd be a prophet, right? No prophets today except imbeciles and little children, as we always say. But that's how he took them. So you can say whatever you want. It wasn't proven. They lied to the people. They did other things. Let's say it's all true. Let's say. But that's the way God took people. He took a lot of them that way, right? He took a lot of them, let's say they didn't get the vaccine, and they died from it. Or if they got the vaccine, they still died from it, right? It's even crazier. I know, someone took the vaccine, they got COVID like 3 times, 4 times, something like that, right? Now, so when a person dies, God is going to dictate how they're going to die. And he's going to tell the angel of death, take them this way. Or take them that way. So it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter how they die, right? This is the problem, how we view it, and we see things as being tragic. You hear about a 3-year-old falls in a manhole. That's tragic. 100%, that's tragic. And you can have a 57-year-old get killed in a car accident. It's also tragic. Someone dies from cancer. Also tragic. But what's the commonality? They all died, right? It's a question of how we look at it. God took them, right? I remember that's my Rabbi's son once about someone who passed away. So I asked him, I said, what happened? And he looked at me, he's like, what do you care what happened? Died. God took him. That's it. What do you care? Complication this way, complication that way. So God took him. So we have a skewed way of looking at things because whatever it is, right? COVID's a good example. You see, vaccine, look how many people are killed, right? Look how many people got killed even if they didn't take the vaccine. Okay, right? It was a crazy thing. A lot of people died. Good, right? But that's how God took them. That's the outlook. That is how God took them. So again, people go, I would never jab and I would never do this. And, fine, okay, right? But those people did, and that's how they died. That's how God took them. And if they didn't take the vaccine, I didn't take the vaccine, okay. So if a person's destined to die, God will take a person a different way, right? So give him cancer, give him an aneurysm, give him a heart attack, right? All kinds of things God can do. Car accident, missile hit in your house. If you live here or other places. God's got a lot of messengers to take people out. Got a lot of different ways. This will happen. He took a lot of people through COVID. Okay. But that's not the reason, right? That is not the reason. Don't make that mistake. See, doctors lied and they said this and they said that. That's not the reason. The reason is because God said they're going to die. Period. That's the reason. Through COVID, it was a terrible thing. Okay. I had a friend of mine, I'll give an example. A friend of mine used to live for many years and have, what do you call it, lung transplant. Had to have a lung transplant. So he had no choice. Had a lung transplant. Lung transplant was successful, right? It was successful, and they got infections. They didn't see there was something in the lung that was infected. They couldn't to the hospital, whatever. And he died from that. He got an infection and killed him. Yeah. So we say here in Israel, you can say it anywhere, right? The surgery was successful, and the patient died. So what happened to this guy? God took him that way. Surgery was successful. I don't know how long he could have lived, half a lung or whatever. Doesn't matter. God took him shortly thereafter. So you can say that's terrible. It is. It is tragic, right? You go through something like that, and then you get something, get this infection, and that killed him. But what's the bottom line? This is the point. What is the bottom line? That's how God took them, right? But that's not the reason. That's the ultimate reason. The ultimate reason is because God took them, and they were supposed to die. The reason, how it happened to them, a different issue. But that's not the reason. The reason is God took them. So you want to tell me if they would have got the COVID shot? Okay, God would have taken them a different way. Been happy if they were dropped dead of a heart attack, aneurysm. People say, yeah, at least we didn't get lied to. Okay, there are different perspectives. But you have to remember, God decreed death on men after Adam and Eve ate from the tree. How people are going to die, when they're going to die, Rabbi would say, why do people die young and old? Because if everyone died the same age, no one would repent. Right? King David says, you get 70 years. If you get strength, 80 years. Anything over that's a bonus. Right? So, guy's 69 and a half. Yeah, he's got a half a year. Okay, so repent now. No. You take people when they're 30, when they're 20, when they're 40, prime of life, who knows? Probably going to jump in, try and save someone. They don't know how to swim, and they drown. God took them that way, right? I can hear the Sultan, the evil inclination, whatever you call them. They go, sucker! Jump! Go! Go for it, be the hero! And he drowned. Happened to a football player like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But he didn't know how to swim, right? He didn't know how to swim good. So you don't jump into where you want to save someone, right? So the evil inclination's like, well, but that's how he took him. That is exactly how he took him. Wouldn't your, average mind, average intelligence say, well, if you don't know how to swim, you can't jump in? That's what you tell you, right? But you got egged on, adrenaline, all the endorphins going. He jumped in. Can't jump in if you don't know how to swim, right? That's like suicide. If it's a doubt whether, it's a danger, it's one thing. If it's direct danger, yeah, that's a problem. Right? That's a problem. So in all these things, God decreed a person was going to die. Good. How he's going to take him doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is how we look at it. Right? And in that case, what's the problem? What is the ultimate problem? The ultimate problem is we're going to say, this is tragic, this is terrible. I know someone now hanging, I got a 50% chance to live. Okay, person's, in their 90s, got a number of complications. There's already got 50% chance. So what's going to happen? We'll see. So we're praying for him. We should come through it, whatever. But, it's got a number of things. And now, on top of it all, it's got pneumonia. On top of it, it has to have surgery or something. Also got to have neck surgery at some point, right? Whatever, fell and cracked his neck or whatever. So and now he's got pneumonia. So a lot of different things here, going on. So they're saying right now he should have a full claim, it should be well. Whatever, 50 chance. And to go on, so we can take him any different ways, take any of us. Any of us, God forbid, but we have to have the Torah eyes to see. It doesn't matter what the end result is. You can say, doctor performed surgery and killed the person. You can say, well, the doctor's liable. Okay, let's say the doctor is liable. Was that person supposed to die at that point or not? According to Torah, because we don't care about anything else. According to Torah, was that person supposed to die? Yes. How is he supposed to die? This way. Is the doctor guilty? Oh, yeah. Doctor's guilty. Right? But God, put him in that position. For whatever reason, I know somebody, they should be well. What happened? They had surgery. And some sort of, I forget what surgery they had. The doctor performed the surgery, was plastered. Plastered. I don't know how you do surgery when you're plastered. Right? Cause all kinds of complications to one's body. Yeah. Is the guy guilty? Yeah. I mean, she's still alive. Should be well. She had all these problems because this doctor was plastered. Now, imagine if he was plastered and killed her. And he didn't. Right? Right? He didn't. He didn't kill her. Right? Because damn it. Very good. And if he killed her, you're going to say, oh, that's terrible. That's tragic. And the way we look at it, that's true. That's true. It's tragic. But what's the ultimate way, according to Torah, to see it? And that is this person was a conduit to do it, and God took them. But that's not the reason. The reason is because God took them. It just looks bad. We don't know how to process it, right? Tragedies, other things. It's hard to process. But see, that's the blessing a person has to make, a Jew has to make, if someone they have an obligation to mourn for, father, mother, sister, brother, God forbid, a child or a spouse. Before they're buried, they have to make the blessing. God is the true judge, because at the end of the day, God took their life. That's it. He took them. That's why we don't do autopsies in general. That's forbidden, right? That is forbidden. When you outstill a body, a lot of times here they did autopsies back in the day in the 50s or 60s, and yeah, there were rabbis, other people went in and got the body out of the morgue before it happened, got them buried, because it doesn't matter. Once the person dies, they have to go in the ground. In Jerusalem, the custom is 24 hours, no matter what. Within 24 hours, that person has to be buried. That's the custom here, right? So people have to come in outside of Israel. They'll miss it. They can't get there within 24 hours. The person gets buried. Right? A lot of things I don't want to go into, but whatever, person has to get buried straight away. So to us, it doesn't matter. I mean, again, the way we view it, it's hard to see, and it's hard to fathom. And the reason is very simple, because, we see tragedy. We see, imagine someone goes in routine surgery, and anyone ever see the movie Coma, back in the day, you go for knee surgery and they die. They took them and harvested organs or whatever they did, right? And, so they finally got caught doing it. But, so what do you say about, okay, it was a movie, but someone has surgery and they die. That's what happened. I know someone, a great rabbi who had knee surgery. Had knee surgery, right? Slipped on some ice, whatever, a number of years ago. Had knee surgery. Everything was, Friday night, everything was good. Shabbos day, things, took a turn for the worse. And, short time thereafter, he died. Knee surgery. Anyone got died from knee surgery? Wasn't sold. No other complications, as far as I know. That's how God took him. Right? We don't process it well. We look at it, that's tragic. You're right. But that was the time for the person to go. When we see a younger person, vitality of life, and they die in horrific ways or different things, it's hard to fathom. But, we don't understand God's ways. As the prophet says, God says, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Right? A lot of things we see, we don't have a clue what we're looking at. Not a clue. But if God wants to take somebody, he can take them any way they want. Any way he wants. It's just the way we view it. Right? So you can say, wow, look how many people died from the vaccine. Okay. They were going to die anyway. That was the decree. So how did it happen? Because they took the vaccine. Yeah? But it happened in a number of different ways. Right? But people are going to be very quick to say, and they're going to say, see, look how many people died that way. True. Okay, let's say. Let's say it's a high number, even. Right? That's what was supposed to happen to them. That's how they were supposed to go. So even a person never took the vaccine, so I'll never do that. Okay. So the people didn't take the vaccine. Fine. Yeah. So if they made that decision, which God knows, well, God said I was going to take you that way. So God said, okay. They decided they're not going to do that. They're not going to take the vaccine. Can't be convinced. Okay, so take them another way. I mean, obviously, God already knows that. Right? So he knows the person's not going to take the vaccine, nothing's going to convince them. So take them a different way. It's just the way it happened. It's not why it happened. Right? That's the difference. The why it happens because God took them. That's the why. The other things don't really matter. Totally don't matter. It's just the way we look at it. And we see, tragedies all the time. Or hear about them. So yeah, that's hard to fathom, but there was a divine decree, on Rosh Hashanah, right? There was a divine decree, and that's how this person's going to die. And that's how this person's going to go, unless other things happen. But if other things don't happen, that's a decree, and that's it. And you can't fight it, but you don't know. You have no idea. I know someone, one of my rabbis just recently passed away. All kinds of issues over the years. A lot of different issues. And the bottom line was, his internal system was very weak because he had a kidney transplant many years ago. So that destroyed his antibodies. And whatever he struggled with different things, over the years. Well, They weren't actually expecting him to die at this point. But what happened? What happened? He got pneumonia, and that's it. And it just killed the system. That's the way it went. But all the other things happened before didn't take him. This was the final thing. Okay, right? Again, the way we see it, if it's younger people, in the prime of their lives and how they're taking, we look at it as tragic. Any death, even if they're old, look at it as also tragic. I heard someone say, like, oh, I can't believe my father died. I'm like, we were so close, whatever. So, well, how old was he? It's like 97. What do you think? He's not going to die? Like, okay. No one lives forever. That's true. But death never should have been. Death never should have been. Adam and Eve ate from the tree. Right? Adam and Eve ate from the tree. So someone here asks, very good. You almost died in the process of conversion. Say, but what you consider a miracle? Help arrive at the last moment for unexpected place. Very good. Okay, so the question is, how are you supposed to properly thank Hashem? So what people do is they've gone through what's the word? If they've gone through, something that happened where it was a dangerous situation and they came out of it. So that day that they came out of it, so a year later on that day, they'll make what we call a Sudas Hodah. They'll make a festive meal or whatever, make a nice meal, giving thanks to God for saving them on that day. Someone saved in a car crash, let's say. Something like that. They really should have died, right? Right? They really should have died. So what happens? Usually a year later, they'll make this festive meal. Right? They'll definitely make this festive meal. So that you can do, right? On the day that you were saved. Right? If you know the date, so next year you make a festive meal. That's one thing. Second thing is anytime you pray, you should throw that in. You can throw it in Shema Kolenu, right? Where we add, all our private prayers for whatever we want. You can put it in there. You can put it in Rifa'enu, like a person was sick, that, you can thank God you healed them. You got healed. Say it every day, 3 times a day, right? Except on Shabbos, right? But, I would say, certainly during the week when we pray, part of that prayer, certainly the Shemona Esrei, is you thank God for every last thing you have, no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard it is, right? You thank God for every last thing, right? Every day, I would say, except Shabbos and festivals, because we don't ask for supplications. You can thank Him. You can still thank Him, right? We don't supplicate, right? Because there's no point to supplicate, because in Shabbos, nothing's going to change on Shabbos in general. So we don't ask for supplications. We don't give supplications on Shabbos. So that's what I would say. Listen, there were people during COVID, they didn't know what to do, right? They didn't know what to do. How did some people die? Starvation. They died of starvation, right? They didn't know what to do with them, so they didn't feed them, right? 100% they didn't feed them. That's the issue. So you're going to say, well, a lot of top athletes took it and they died. Okay. But you have to remember, that was their time to go. Why would God do it then? Anyone's guess as good as mine. Could be, you get star athletes. I think they're God's gift to the world. God says, you know what? You're not. You tick me off so much, I'm not going to let you continue. And bam, nails them. Or what he's done is, I'll take a star athlete, not kill him from that, but what they got caught doing something in the off season, killed their career. Happened to a number of people, killed their career. Okay, if you're talking about people dying, right? People dying. So I'll take it, COVID's a good example, right? Is a good example. People took it and died, but that's how they were supposed to die anyway. What about professional football players, right? Let's take professional football players. Yeah. A lot of them get concussions, get many concussions. after they're finished playing, it affects them, affects something in their brain, right? Affects something in their brain. Someone told me there's a whole movie about it, about a lot of these players that basically committed suicide. They committed suicide because of all the injuries, all the toll of all the injuries. But they just, couldn't live life. Now, God can take a person that way, take their own life. So you're going to say, but I'll take your own life. Very good. So why did God cause it that way? And that's what they did? Again, I don't have answers, but this is the cause. This is a direct cause. That's what they're claiming. Too many head injuries. When you have too many head injuries, it affects other things. For sure, affects other things. But you got to remember. You got to remember in all these things, that whatever happens and however it happens, that's what God wanted in the end. That's what God allowed to happen. Right? Let's say better. Does God want anyone to take their lives? No. It's a very severe punishment for Jews and non-Jews. For most people, there's a saving grace. Most people who commit suicide, usually there's an issue with, usually they have some sort of mental health issue. Right? So even though by a Jew, you're not buried in a Jewish cemetery, you don't get up at resurrection of the dead, there are no mourning customs. Nonetheless, a lot of that probably doesn't apply because someone who does it probably has has some sort of mental health issue. So you're gonna say, so they're exempt. Okay, it's still a severe prohibition. But you can ask the question, why did God allow a person to go through that and do it? So I don't know. Right? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for that. I'm just saying that the end result, right? The end result is what God wanted. God wanted their lives to be over. So that's how it ended. Right? Forget about suicide. It's like a little bit different issue. But for almost anything else that happens, a 3-year-old, what did they do to deserve it? Nothing. They're not punishable. Remember, they're not punishable till the age of 13 or 12 or 13 or the age of 20. So it has to be something their soul has to go through. Even so, it's a hard thing. Or someone born with a horrific disease, they die by the age of 5 or 10 or whatever. It's tragic, right? There's no question, right? But it's not punishment for the child; it's punishment for the soul. Right? It's what the soul, whatever reason, the soul, has to go through. But even other things that happen, it's a result of the fact that God's taking them now. It doesn't matter how He does it, right? Does not matter how He does it. It's just the way we view it. If someone died in their old age and could really see straight, and they're in a nursing home and they're drooling all the time, and they don't remember anybody, say, okay, that's tragic. But say, live the good life, live the long life, okay. And if someone half the age, dies, maybe a similar manner or not, a person will say the same thing, but that's the divine decree. That's what people have to remember. It doesn't matter how they were taken. Right? We get all caught up in that. Right? COVID's a very good example. This one died from this. And athletes died from it. Yet other people, had heart attacks or aneurysms or whatever, right? From it. True. Again, the numbers could be high. Could be. Right? Numbers could be very high. I don't think so, but let's say, even if they were, that is exactly how God took them. Right? So then it doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter what people said and if they lied, and they misled people and all that. That doesn't matter. That's how God got people to take it. Fear. Well, if you don't take it, what's going to happen? You can die from it. Yeah, people say, oh, it's just like the flu. It's a little bit worse than the flu. Okay. But that's to me, that's like playing Russian roulette, even if you don't have any underlying symptoms. How do you know it's not going to take all your organs and give you a mass heart attack and die without the vaccine? You don't know. You'll say, according to statistics, it shouldn't be a problem. A very healthy person. You're right, it shouldn't be. Right? It'll be like, a really bad flu for a week. Right? That's what it's going to be like. Okay. Right? But what if you're one of the unlucky ones? There's a story, 40-year-old guy, 2, 3 kids, no health issues. He dropped dead. Right? Overnight, dropped dead. That was his time to go, obviously. Right? But he's perfectly healthy. No vaccine. No vaccine. He got COVID, he died from it. The story of a 15-year-old girl, 60-year-old girl, same thing. So how do you explain that? You tell me they got the vaccine, they die good. You blame it on the vaccine. Well, let's say they didn't take the vaccine. They say, wow, they're bad luck. That's not according to statistics, because most people get it. Even if they didn't take the vaccine, would live. It just take them longer to fight it, or less, or whatever. Right? But see, that's what I couldn't fathom. Is the fact that people say, okay, I'll take my chances. But in any other thing, you wouldn't say that. Unless you say, I don't believe this thing's gonna kill me. Right? I think it's just worse, just a bad flu. Okay. Like, let's say 90% of the people are not going to die from it. Let's say, healthy, relatively healthy, no underlying cause. Forget a vaccine. They get COVID. Probably a lot of people are not going to die from it. Some will, no question. Right? There'll be a lot of people that will. Okay. But is someone willing to take the chance? Don't say, I'm going to be one of those that don't die. You can't say that. You have not, can't say for certainty. You could say, listen, I'm healthy, exercise, whatever, relatively healthy, let's say. So it'd be like a bad flu. Okay. And what if you got it and it kills you? You say, oh, my bad. Oops. Right? No rhyme or reason. For other things, people wouldn't take chances. To me, that was the most incredulous thing. Why take a chance when, it could kill you? Would anyone in the right mind, take a gun, it's got, 6 bullets, right? You take all the bullets out, you put one in, right? Russian roulette, put it to your head. Anyone gonna do that? Seriously? It's 1 in 6 chance. 16.6666% chance till infinity. Anyone really gonna do that? Some people would. They'll say, I'll take the chance. Most people would not take the chance. I do not think, my personal opinion, most people would not take that chance. Because if you pull that, you say, it's not gonna happen to me, boom, and they pull the brains out. Oh, I was wrong. I don't think people are going to take that chance. Right? Even if it's a higher percentage, I don't think people are going to take that chance. Because they see it's real. They see the bullet in there. Even if it's a 1 in 10 chance, I'm not so sure people would take that chance. Because they see it's real. It's like COVID, you get it, come on, it's this. They don't believe it. Believe it's going to have that effect. So don't worry about it. This person got it and died. Okay, it's bad. It's not going to happen to me. I'm younger, I'm healthier, I'm this. Or I'm older, I'm healthy, whatever excuse they want to make. Can't say that for sure. Not 100%. Can't even say it's 80%. You can say, well, statistically, it should be like this and like this. Okay. Right? I'm also big into statistics. You want to take the chance? People willing to take the chance. Yeah. Yeah. But even if they took the chance and they died, let's say they died. Very good. And that's the way they died. Okay. Another way God took them. That is the way God took them. That's it. That's only the mechanism. That's not the reason. Right? The reason is because God took them. We can say it looks bad. Look how many people died from it. Look at this, look at that. They would have died anyway. Right? That's the bottom line. They would have died anyway. And God was taking them. How did he take them? Does it matter? Right? I got screamed at. That's why it's in my head. So what do you care how they died? Died. He died, there's a funeral. That's all you need to know. That is all you need to know. That's what it means to live with God. Because you understand the bigger picture. Right? And the bigger picture is, guess what? He died. Less tragic, more tragic. That's the way God took him. That's the way God, that's the way we got to that's the way we have to view it. So when it says more and more, I see people of all backgrounds, Muslims, Christian, whatever, you know them, their love for God, want to live in peace, seems to be corrupt politicians, conflict, and war. A lot of things. Part of it's their own religion, by the way. But yeah, there's a lot of corruption everywhere. It's true. Right? I'm not going to deny that there is. Right? Shouldn't be. Religion shouldn't be, but there can be, right? You got to remember one thing, that just because there are a bunch of bad eggs, there could be bad eggs in Judaism also. Just because it's bad eggs doesn't mean, or just because there are bad eggs, let's say better, doesn't mean you throw the whole thing. You don't say, oh, look, all Jews do this and all Jews do that. No, that's being racist. So, a person has to be careful. Certainly a person has to be careful with that. But you're right. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things the media says, and social media and everywhere else. Who says you have to buy into it? And who says they're right in the first place? A lot of things they get wrong. A lot of things they get wrong. There's so many lies they've been perpetuating. Christianity being one of them, Palestinian people being one of them, so-called. And we'll put up the third one, evolution. Probably the three biggest lies, not necessarily in all that order, right? But, and that's been thrown around for years, decades. And everyone sucks it up. Everyone buys into it. The media corrupts. You just had 4 years of like craziness where you could have, a man dressed up as a woman compete in women's sports. Like, does that make any sense? Any sense? Like one of the first things Trump said, you put into motion, whether you like him or not, doesn't really matter, right? There's two genders. That's it. Male, female, never going to mix. It's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. Everyone else, a bunch of wackos. Bunch of absolute wackos. Yeah, someone asked me to get free samples. Can we get free samples on Shabbos, assuming it's kosher? Can you get free samples? Depends. Can you carry them? What can you do with them? What can you do with the free samples? Yeah. Are you able to attend birthday parties that fall on Shabbos? Secular family member. I would ask you the following question. So if you didn't have to desecrate Shabbos, let's say, right? Let's say that's the case. You're not desecrating Shabbos. Okay. Let's say you're not desecrating Shabbos. Is it something you should do? Is it something in the spirit of Shabbos? Tell me, you have a special thing, there's a Shabbos atmosphere is one thing. If you say it's going to be a totally secular thing, then you can't go, right? Even if you can walk there, it's not the spirit of Shabbos, right? And if there's music there, there's other things there. If there wouldn't be anything wrong, right? Let's say there'd be nothing wrong. No music, no nothing, just celebration, probably not an issue. Probably less of an issue. But you remember, it's not the spirit of Shabbos, right? It depends how it's done. How do you confirm a restaurant is kosher? Should have rabbinical supervision on it. You have to ask, is there a mashgiach there always? Right? Is there always, someone who's there, to watch it? See? So they have to have a certificate, which should be a legitimate certificate, right? And they should have the better places have what they call a mashgiach tamidi. Mashgiach tamidi means someone there all the time. Right? So that's better supervision. Right? But you have to see, does it have supervision or not? Right? You check. You have to see if they have a sign, right, that says that they're kosher. And who says it's kosher? It's this famous joke that a guy goes into a kosher restaurant. He says, "Can I eat here?" Right? It's a kosher. So the owner comes out and he says, "Look, I have a picture of the Chofetz Chaim. Right? The Chofetz Chaim's on the wall." This guy looks at him and says, "Listen, if your picture is on the wall and the Chofetz Chaim was standing here, I'd eat here." Right? If the Chofetz Chaim was standing here and your picture was there, yeah, that's good. The Moses received the sod of Torah first, then Pshat. I have no idea. He got a simple explanation for it. I would assume he got a simple explanation and then probably Kabbalistic things. He probably got everything at once. God gave it to him as a gift on a platter. Right? All right. So probably I would say simple explanation first. Why can non-Jews have peace with God without converting to be a Jew? Why do they have to convert? Who says they have to convert? Hoffman's line is, if God wanted everyone to be Jewish, they would be. So why do they have to convert? They can have a portion of the world to come without converting. It's a lot easier for them. Right? They keep the 7 Noahide laws, which is an umbrella, about 50 or 60 altogether. Who says all non-Jews have to convert? They can have peace with God. They can have a relationship with God. People say, there's not much to learn, this and that. I can keep people busy. If I live to 250, I keep them busy for the next 250 years. No problem. No problem. Who says they have to convert? Non-Jews have a purpose in the world without being a Jew. Read Derech Hashem, the way of God, makes it clear. Extremely clear. There's a purpose for non-Jews. 100% there's a purpose. Right? God didn't say, well, if you believe in me, and you believe in Moses the prophet, great. Everyone else is going to die if you don't. He doesn't say that. We're the only universal religion. You want to join the Jewish people, you fit the criteria, good. You don't want to join, it's also good. You can say he's a non-Jew. Why should you have to join? Why in the world should you have to join? What is the ritual get dipped in water in Judaism about? It's holiness. Water, right? Right? Water is purification. So therefore, you go in a body of water that shows purification. It's purification of the body and the soul. Someone says they are insane. These men dress competing as women. Yeah. Well, it's more insane. More insane that they would even consider it, and they're men. There's a question on sports talk radio that back in the day, Bruce Jenner won the decathlon, right? So there's a question: should we take him off the box of Wheaties? Should we take away his gold medals? Because now he's a woman. Well, I don't think he's a true woman, but it doesn't really matter. Now he's a woman. Okay. What's the question? When he competed in the decathlon, was he a man? He was a man. No question about it. Deserved to be on the box of Wheaties. Right? He was a bona fide man. No question. Right? They're going to say, now that he's a woman, we're going to look at him as a woman. So back then, he was really a woman. He wasn't. I don't know what even the discussion was about. Right? You want to talk about back in the day, baseball and steroids? Okay. Should they be in the Hall of Fame? Not in the Hall of Fame. That's a different issue. Right? That they took to enhance play. That's a different issue. Yeah, there's not a question. He was a guy. He was a guy, won the gold medal, very good. So now he's a woman, so what? Still got the gold medals, still in the box of Wheaties. Not going to take away from him. What about people that eat kosher, dress in a suit, or someone who's not so kosher, but a good person helping others, not cheating on his wife? Who does God appreciate more? Ooh. Someone eats kosher, dresses the right way, or someone not so kosher was a good person. Depends what the person who. See, that's the thing. People dress a certain way, look a certain way. Doesn't mean they're God's gift to the world. They just dress the part, but they could be underhanded, they could be crooks, they could be, other things. So it depends. Just the way a person dresses doesn't matter. It doesn't, maybe it shows, quote unquote, how religious they are. Maybe. But if they do underhanded things, then the way they dress doesn't really matter. Right? So therefore, if they're doing underhanded things, this other person's better, even if they don't learn as much. Yeah, other questions. Can I go to church? No. Idolatry. Can I use the bathroom in a church? Right? Or a Jew, you got nowhere else to go. No service going on, right? Probably not a problem. For a Jew, it looks bad. Because walking into a church, people might think, oh, it's permissible to go into church. Right? And that would be a question also, could you go into church to vote? Right? A lot of churches have, places you go there to vote. That's the whole question. Let's say it's a side room, it's not the main chapel. Right? Being a side room with other people there, so it's not a problem people thinking you're going to pray there. Right? Less of an issue. But certainly just walking in general should be a problem. Certainly for a Jew, and also a non-Jew. Right? For a Jew, for sure, it's a problem. There is a question whether Christianity for a non-Jew is considered idolatry. We hold, practically speaking, it is. We hold, practically speaking, it is. If there's no church service, then yeah, maybe it shouldn't be a problem. But if there's nothing going on, it would still be a problem. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. I'm going to stop here. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday. Anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Malchaim Kaufman, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on the Q&As, Ethics of Our Fathers, Book of Leviticus. You want to send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBI, CHAIMCOFFMAN at gmail.